Hey, how you doing today? We had a great live stream yesterday. Thanks for joining, even though there's no one on deck currently, but I'm sure you're coming. And when you do, welcome aboard. This is a really cool topic, I think, a really broad topic, a general topic. You can find a lot of information online about this. The secret to happiness. And I wrote, hint, it's not your ex, right? And this is something I've accumulated over my lifespan and my life experience and reading a lot of self-empowerment books or self-improvement books over the last 3 years, 4 years. And what's up, brand new Skinner? Sorry, I wish I had a prize for you being number one, but I will say this, you are appreciated. Chi-Town's finest on deck. Always has some good questions also. So if you guys want to chime in, I'm going to kind of go a top 10 of what I think the secret of happiness is, because it's a bit of a trick statement in my book, because I don't think there is one secret to happiness, and I don't think that you really can know happiness unless you know sadness, unless you know grief. So the secret to happiness is actually dealing with problems and actually knowing what it's like to be in a bad place. So the secret to happiness is realizing that it's not forever. It's in a moment. It's moment to moment. You do your best. You do your best moving forward. But let me go through some things that I wrote out, like a top 10 list, and I'll do an extended version in a closed video. That's what I think I'm going to do as far as this goes. So self-love is definitely going to be in it, I bet. Okay. Actually, I don't know if I wrote self-love. So let's see. I gave some different examples that might surprise you. And like I said, well, happiness comes differently for different people. So let's also keep that in mind, because everyone's values and morals are different. But I think these line up pretty good, and let's get into it, folks. So the secret to happiness, and I said sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Well, that's short-term happiness, right? Those are short-term pleasures. And they often lead to a very high and a very low. So it's called fool's gold, right? Number one, treat pleasures as rewards, not addictions. You'll enjoy them more. Identify your addictions. We all have addictions. We all have things we're doing too much for a little bit of pleasure. It could be eating sweets. It could be being on social media. It could be drinking too much. But if you're able to dial it back and treat it as a reward, you actually enjoy it more. You look forward to it more often. Whereas if, for example, if you're drinking, and I've been in a couple places in my life, I enjoy to have a few beers, where I'm like, you know what, recently, the last month or 2 months with the group I'm hanging out with, I've been going out and having too many drinks. And you got to catch yourself before it gets out of hand. And you got to go, wait a minute, let me redirect the ship. Let me re-identify that this is actually becoming less and less a pleasure and more just something I do regularly. It's not something I look forward to, and it's not as special as it used to be. So treat pleasures as rewards, not addictions. Number two, I think this one is huge. Some people might find it to be obvious, but I don't know if I found it to be as obvious. And I think that a lot of people think of money as being the secret of happiness. And I think this is probably one of the prime ingredients, really prime ingredients to being happy. Camaraderie. And what does camaraderie mean? Mutual trust and friendship among people who spend a lot of time together. And when you have camaraderie, that's why I think you love being on a sports team when you're young, especially when you're on a winning team, is the camaraderie is just so wonderful, right? It's fantastic. And the human being at its highest level is helping each other, being there for one another. And we can get this from 3 different places, I think. Camaraderie doesn't have to come from one place. If you have a broken family or you don't have very good family ties, you can get it from friends. And you can get it from your workplace or your work friends. Now, if you have it from family, friends, and workplace, you're probably at a high level of happiness more times than not. You're still going to hit walls. You're still going to have times when, like I said, happiness is not eternal or 24/7. It ain't a 7-Eleven of feelings, okay? And to take it, you wouldn't know how great happiness is unless you have those moments, like I mentioned. Happiness flows best when we get our camaraderie from all those places. It just takes one asshole to devour all the space in your head. But if you have good camaraderie, they can take you away from that one person or that one incident and support you and be loyal. And this is basically a big part of people that if you've met over the years, people that you go, wow, this person's always happy. They probably are a part of a lot of camaraderie. Number 3, get a dog or cat. Sounds simple. They are loyal. They don't talk back. They love unconditionally, and they can get you to exercise more. You can't walk cats, but you can walk a dog. It's pretty simple. Most people, they talk about this for older people. I currently don't have a dog or cat. We do have some cats on the street that we kind of feed and take care of and whatnot. It's nice to see those cats, but I wouldn't identify it as mine. But I would say this would add to your happiness if you could get a dog or a cat, I guess, or a pet that you can interact with well. Number 4, exercise. Oh, Mac, everyone always says exercise. That's fucking obvious. Do it. The amount of people that will go, oh, yeah, I don't want anyone to tell me to exercise. It's because you're being lazy, man. Exercise. And when I say, excuse me, I had something in my throat. When I say exercise, run, walk, swim, bike, there's a lot of options. Now, playing team sports mixes camaraderie, okay? It mixes camaraderie with exercise. So you got a little fusion there. Running alone mixes meditation and flow state with exercise. So you got a little fusion there. You see where I'm going with this? So exercise, you can tie into other things. I often, when I'm at the gym, I listen to an audiobook, or when I'm in the car, I listen to an audiobook. And that way I'm doing something like driving somewhere, but I'm also getting some knowledge at the same time. It's nice to do some fusion things. But exercise, a lot of people think about doing it for their body. I do it for my mind just as much or more, to be quite frank. Number 5, find areas where you can meditate and get into a flow state. And meditation, I think that we get caught up in being Tibetan monks and, being zenned out and creating this situation where we don't think about anything. Meditation's not about that. It's the effort. It's the 5 or 10 minutes of quiet. It's like watering a plant, you've heard. And I don't think you need to be sitting cross-legged underneath a tree in the forest to meditate. All right, there's different things. And actually, meditation can come from a flow state. Now, a flow state is when you're extremely challenged, but you feel like you can meet the challenge, and you are engrossed in the idea of what you're doing, so much so that you lose track of time, okay? And I use this as an example. My father reads the newspaper every day devoutly. He's done it every morning since he's been retired. And when I was a kid, every afternoon after he got off work, or late afternoon, early evening, he would go through the entire paper. And if you walk by him and he doesn't even notice you're there, because he's extremely into the reading. And that's what we call a flow state. And that is a form of meditation in a lot of ways. It's relaxing your mind on one topic or one subject. And in the environments now, it's extremely difficult with all the noise and social media and your phone to get in those states. And it's more important than ever before to get that quiet time for your mind. So if you want to look more into flow state or meditation, these things are going to help calm your mind and create more happiness, more space. Things I mentioned were silent hot yoga, writing your journal, or making music, not just listening to it. So making music is actually a flow state for a lot of people. Number 6, growth mindset versus fixed mindset. Look at the mindset book. There's a book called Mindset by Carol Dweck. The whole point of the book is that some people are in a growth mindset and some people are in a fixed mindset. Those in a growth mindset obviously grow more, get farther ahead in life with whatever they're going after, and they don't seek as many roadblocks. They're solution-based. I know in my own life this has held me back because I've been in a fixed mindset for years. And when you come to the outlook of being in a growth mindset, when you hit roadblocks, it's so much different because you're looking for solutions. You're looking for answers. It's not the same when you're in a fixed mindset. You hit a roadblock and you just complain, bitch, moan, and you give up. So that book's a good book to touch on. Get in touch with your aim or goal. What's the target? This is something Jordan Peterson talks about. He calls the word aim. You can call it goal. You can call it your vision. You can call it your purpose. But you should have a target. And I've talked about this before. University does this for you. So if you go to university, they go, all right, come here for 4 years. Here's your schedule. Here's your finish line. We're going to give you this certificate that means something when you get finished. And they create the aim and the goal for you, so you don't have to really think about it. They create the whole system. So what you need to do is figure out what it is. If you want to live by the beach one day, this was something in my teen years. Oh, I always wanted to live by the beach. My first apartment was, I think, 10 blocks up from a major beach. I had to rent a studio apartment. It wasn't very nice, but my goal was to live by the beach, and I did it. To live in a certain neighborhood. My grandmother, who's passed, there was a neighborhood that she always wanted to live in because my grandfather used to deliver newspapers, and I think it was filmed to a cinema there. And so she just loved this neighborhood. And eventually they got a house there. It was 20 years down the road, but it was always on her mind. They got in that neighborhood in a white picket fenced house. But she had an aim, she had a goal, and when the time was right and it was available, she was able to strike. And you want to visualize this vision. I've talked about this before. Number 8, don't just find your passion or purpose, create it. I've talked about this before. I'll go into this more depth in another video, but check out Ikigai. Number 9, when you're working with bad people or have bad friends or bad partners, cut the anchor. I'll talk about this more, but one thing I talked about before is the Defiant Ones. It was with Dr. Dre. It's on Netflix. This Dr. Dre, over his journey, cut anchor about 3 or 4 times when he had been making really good money and it seemed like he was famous and whatnot, but it didn't line up with his beliefs and his values. And he had enough confidence to go, you know what? I'm going to cut anchor. I'm going to create my own thing. That was impressive. All right, folks. I have about 15 more things to mention, but I'll save them for a video and a different post. So let's get into the live stream today. We got 3 on deck. Okie dokie. Okay. Mr. Brand New Skinner. Self-love is definitely on there. Dylan, the Tazzy Devils, always on deck. My Bianca. My boyfriend grabbed my neck during a fight. We live together, don't have kids. I dumped him today. Do you believe in second chances, staying with family till I move out? If an individual got physical with you, and especially if that's not the first time, you need to stay away from them. You need to be with people like your family. You need to catch your breath. And at this point, I wouldn't think about a second chance until it was 3 weeks or a month down the road and your head's clear. Because if you're going back to an individual like that grabbed your neck, you need to know exactly why. You guys probably need counseling. You probably need some kind of anger management. But anyone getting physical is a sensitive point for me. And it's non-negotiable in my book. So in my suggestion, that would not be a chance for a second chance unless it was months or years down the road. And whatever was creating the situation where that person was so angry that they needed to grab your neck, whatever excuse they made for that, they need to be in a situation. And I don't think that someone's just going to change in a week or 2 weeks because of a second chance. There's something inside that individual that's making them seriously erratic. And to do something like that, like I said, it's non-negotiable. And if they were to get a second chance, they would need to go through some therapy or some type of thing and realize exactly why they're doing that and where it's coming from. Yeah, it's non-negotiable. Any kind of physicality like that. Man should never put hands on a woman, in my book. Well, that's nice to you, Samantha J. Samantha J, Bianca Evans, welcome. I don't know if you've been on the live stream before, but welcome. Questions are allowed, absolutely. When I get into a topic, I just start off the live stream that way. And then we go from there. And if there's other questions and whatnot, I'll get to them on the side. This is a good way to flow into things here. If I were you, I'd forget about him. Violence against women is a way out of line. It is. I agree 100%, Dylan. And if it continues or something, I would seriously consider filing a police report because this is one of those things. My boyfriend is verbally abusive sometimes. I want to learn how to break up and move on out too. Well, you don't learn how to break up. You make a fucking decision and you value yourself and you tell yourself, look, if someone's continuously being verbally abusive and now he's put some hands on you, now that's the end of the line, okay? That's the part where you get your clarity and you go, you know what? I'm not taking this anymore. I'm not accepting this. I have some value. I have family that I can stay with, which you've already mentioned, right? And you might have to go through a period where you reinvent yourself and you get back in touch. There was a client I had 3 or 4 months ago. She was in her mid-20s, and she had a partner that was verbally abusive and really tough on her. And then after she had her kid, she just found it completely unacceptable. She had a new level of confidence after she had her baby, and the baby had some complications. And she said once she cut that anchor of him, it took a little bit, it took 2 or 3 months, but she felt better. She felt relieved. She didn't realize she was constantly putting out fires and answering to him. And then when she got away from it, she's like, I would never go back to that individual. You know, people can be highly manipulative. And the only way to get away from that is to cut off all contact from them and realize that they do not have control over you. And Samantha J., when you're in a situation where you feel like, oh, what do I do? Where's your power? Where is your power right now? Your power right now is to stay with your family, do what you want to do, and find behavior like that completely unacceptable and move forward. I'd never hit anyone unless it's play fighting. Thank you so much, Dylan. So hard because 10 years, but I will leave him. He needs help bad. Good guy, bad temper. Well, that's fine. He's a good guy, bad temper, but that's not a good relationship. And that just because he's a good guy doesn't mean you should put up with a bad temper or someone putting fucking hands on you. Black Widow 81. I don't remember you being on the live stream before, but yes, you can absolutely ask questions. Just out of curiosity, were you born in 81? Because so was I. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe you just like the number 81. Bianca Evans, you deserve better than him. If I saw a guy hit a woman in public, I'd deck the hell out of him. What a fucking 1950s hero you are, Dylan. I like it. I like it. Yeah, like I said, that's non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. Thank you so much, Dylan and Brian and Coach. No problem, Bianca. I feel more comfortable telling you guys than my friends. Well, that's how it is, hon. And if you want to share your story, Bianca, send it into writemac.com and I'll respond in a video response in public if you don't want names. If you want to unpack what happened, I don't usually share. If someone has something with physical abuse, I don't like to share that on YouTube. But I certainly would be happy to help you if you want to send me the full story and you want a private video response. That is a paid service, but everyone that's done it has been very satisfied with it. So if you want to send in your story and get a little deeper and unpack things and get a little more clear moving forward, I'd be happy to help you, Bianca. My boyfriend and I have been together for 8 months. Basically, this entire time he has been ignoring me. He can go for days not talking to me. We haven't seen each other since January. Samantha J. Well, that's so kind of you. My channel's a lifesaver. Well, that's an incredible statement, isn't it? Let me go through Black Widow 81. My boyfriend and I have been together for 8 months. Basically, this entire time he has been ignoring me. He can go days not talking to me. We haven't seen each other since January. Well, the red flag is you haven't seen each other since January. So you're in a long distance relationship. January was what, 7 months ago? I don't know what kind of relationship you have at this point, but it's obviously not physical. And at some point that wears on one person more than the other, and they start looking around and they might meet someone or they get tired of being alone. And what you wrote, if you read it back as a stranger, you'll go, what the hell? What am I doing? Right? I have made so many attempts to see him, talk to him, everything. He says he loves me, and part of me feels that, but he doesn't make time for me. I started no contact. Is it a good way to get my control back and make him realize my worth? Well, I don't like the word control. First of all, if you're trying to control him or control his emotions, that's not a good place to come from. And make him realize my worth. You're coming from a place of force, and human beings as adults don't like that, especially men that are in their masculine or have some kind of confidence in them. You'll be butting heads like two rams. So you need to come from a place that currently the relationship's not serving you, and currently the relationship you're in right now, if you haven't seen each other since January, what are you doing? Right? I would just recommend you send in your full story to writemac.com and get my tailored take so I can know a little bit more about it. But the idea that you're going to get your control back and make him realize something, that's not a good place to come from. I don't know if those are good intentions. You're trying to be controlling in the relationship in some ways. And the circumstances of the relationship, the distance, the lack of communication is the problem, not your control. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I don't know if you can change if you guys don't see each other for 7 months, that's a big issue. His lack of appreciation can be opinion based. I'm new. I'm Mac. Nice to meet you, new. 81. So you are a year of 81. Okay, same year. Great year. I think the movie of the year was Rocky. Actually, someone told me that before. 82. I'm not sure. But I'm the year of the monkey because I'm February 1st. So if you do Chinese New Year's, one of my clients. All right, Judy Jack's back on deck. Judy Jack, give me a hook. Give me a hook, Judy Jack. It's not the lure, it's the hook. Oh, wow. Shit, we got a lot in common. You're just a couple days before my birthday. Wow. We're both Aquarius, too. Ooh. That's funny, huh? Loved Rocky. Rocky's a great movie, huh? It's fucking underrated. What's up, Serena? I don't know if I've seen you on the live stream before, but welcome. Best sign ever is Aquarius. I don't know. I don't follow it that closely. I think we're givers, though, right? Are you saying the monkeys about? Because someone just educated me that I was doing a live coaching session, and she's like, "Oh, what year were you born? You know, what month?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm Aquarius," and I said, "I'm the year of the rooster." As far as I know, I grew up in San Francisco, so Chinese New Year was a part of the culture, and she goes, "Actually, you're not the year of the rooster. You're the year of the monkey because you basically the Chinese New Year is like February 10th or 13th or something like that. So I'm a monkey, which is cool. I'm cool with it. I looked it up and I was like, oh yeah, that's whenever you look up stuff like that, it's kind of like, huh, is that? Yeah, that is true about me. Yeah, that is true about me. Yeah, that is true about me. I don't know if I've found things disagreeable on those things. All right, let me scroll back. Hey, Serena, welcome. Thank you so much, Coach. What is your email? Like I said, my website, which you could write your story there, is that. So if you want information, like further information about if you wanted a private video response or you want to do a coaching session, but I will give you my email. I have no problem with that. Coach Mac McCarthy at gmail.com. Got some new people. Where'd you guys come from? Usually it's the usual suspects, huh? Judy Jack, Dylan, and Judy Jack are on deck, but we got some new people. Black Widow. Do you play pool? Wasn't there a famous pool player that was called the Black Widow? Okay. Thank you so much. Best course of action. I'm not sure what you're asking, so just elaborate on that. Black Widow, just jumping in, trying to catch up. Hero, don't know about that. I'm dangerous when I'm angry. Last time I started fighting was in college. I never used my full strength. Otherwise, it would have turned bad. I forced myself to stop sometimes. Well, you seem like a really good guy. And being that your idol's Justin Bieber, I wouldn't take you for someone that's a roughhouser. But I could be wrong. That might be generalizing. Hi, Coach. I broke up with my boyfriend of 8 years. I'm staying at my sister's. I'm trying to move out. Trying? What? Why would it be difficult to move out? You can plan to move out in one day, one time. 8 years is a long time. Woo. If you live together most of that time, there's going to be some time to heal here. And you're just at the beginning. Be thankful that you can stay at your sister's and you have someone supportive immediately with you. He doesn't want us to break up. It's a toxic relationship. I feel like he won't change until something changes. Please help. Well, you've identified it as a toxic relationship, and you should know if you've been in it 8 years and you've lived together. And if you feel like you won't change, a lot of times individuals won't change if they are comfortable, right? It's just how human beings are. You know, you look at even animals. If there's a dog and you feed them in the same place every day and it's not even your dog, they'll come back, and then they won't look for anywhere else to get food until that place is gone, right? And they'll get upset. So the same thing, if you guys are in a toxic relationship, but you're not changing your habits, your triggers, and your time together, you need time apart to reset the clock, to reboot the computer. And right now, stay with your sister. Don't try to move out. Do it, okay? Because if the idea that I'm trying to means that you're going to keep some stuff over there, and your subconscious is going to keep one foot in the relationship and one out. And if it's a toxic relationship, this individual is probably manipulative in some ways. And if they get in your sphere or they get around you, they're probably going to talk you out of the breakup. And it sounds like the way you're talking right now, I don't know the individual situation, but it sounds like a situation that you need some space and time to catch your breath. And you probably need some time alone. If it's been 8 years, you need some quiet time. You need to start readdressing things, and you probably need to go into no contact if it's toxic. I don't know the full story, though. Best sign ever, I'll believe you. Thanks for the why. Brand new Skinner. Okay. Brand new Skinner. We are too much, though. My ex's number called me today, and when I answered, the person asked who I was. I responded that they called me. They said, I know, but who is this? I just laughed, said, okay, and hung up. So it must have been a guy. Is that what you're telling me? Serena, I don't talk about my personal status. That's one of my rules. So I keep that my own business. I don't want to talk about doing breakups and doing things like this. I think it's best to keep my personal relationships to me at this point. I suck at pool. Okay. There was someone back in the day, though, I remember, that was famous. Delray, Florida. We had some Floridites. Is that where you're from? Okay. Brand new Skinner. That must have been awkward, mate. I bet it was some guy that was looking through her phone, calling. I'm just guessing. Is that what you think it is too, Skinner? I'll contact you by email. Okay, that's fine. When I get to 10,000 subscribers, oh, absolutely. Judy Jack, you know I got a great memory. Shit. I enjoy it right now, so I'm enjoying where I'm at and what I'm doing. And so sometimes when people are like, oh, well, why don't you have more of this? It doesn't really bother me that much, surprisingly. I would like to do more live coaching sessions because I enjoy that, and I haven't had a bad one yet, and I'm helping people. And the more subscribers and views you get leads to that. But, you know, when we have these kind of live streams, it's telling me there's only 4 people on deck, but I have more comments than that. As long as we're interacting and we're having a good time like yesterday, cool, man. It's a win. But I won't forget a Judy Jack Burton from Goleta. I chose the name BC because I have a Black Widow spider tat. Her name is Charlotte. It's my alter ego. Ah, you're aware of your alter ego. Interesting. A little Carl Jung. Your dark side. I guess we all have a little bit of an alter ego, huh? Did you guys ever see, does anyone ever remember Garth Brooks? Garth Brooks was like a country singer. I wasn't into his music or anything like that, but he came out with like an alter ego music personality that was like R&B or something. It was crazy. It was the most wild thing. Thanks for the likes, folks. Cheers. I have a room full of a lot of stuff. That's why it's taking so long, and I need a little financial support from him to move out. Okay. How are you so wise? Thank you so much. Well, I'll take that as a compliment. I read a lot. I'm 38 years old, so I've never been more wise than I am today just because of how old I am, I suppose. But I'll take that as a very nice compliment. I have a full room of a lot of stuff. So this is an opportunity, Serena, right now to get rid of some of your shit. I'm a little bit of a pack rat, I'll admit it. And when I've moved before, that's your opportunity to go, you know what? I don't really need this. I don't really need this. When's the last time I used this? Go through your closet. And this is a really good thing, actually. And when I was completely done out of a breakup 10 years ago, I remember I moved and I just called friends over and I had all this. I gave away a TV. I had some really nice Jordans. I had like a Nike sweatshirt. I had some shoes that were in good shape. And friends were like, you don't want the? I'm like, I'm moving, dude. Fuck it. And it was empowering because what happens is your subconscious, when you go into change and you do other things of change, it's like it follows a fucking theme. So when you go into your house and you're like, well, I have a room full of a lot of stuff. How much of that is significant stuff or stuff you need? So if you have stuff in there you don't really need that are trinket based or useless or just, pictures on the wall or something like that, ask yourself, do I really need this right now? Give it away if you don't. Turn it over to charity. It'll be empowering and it'll make you feel good. The stuff that you need, take it. As far as the little bit of a financial support, if that becomes a hindrance or that becomes a problem, seek someone else out that's not him for some of that support. Because if he doesn't want to break up, he's not going to just financially support you to move out. He's going to find a way to go, you know what? Well, if you move back in, I'll take care of this because he'll know the button to push. He's very remorseful. We say hurtful stuff to each other, but I keep giving him so many chances because we both low blow each other a lot. Well, if you're doing low blows, that means that you're trying to hurt each other and you guys need space. You guys need space right now to catch your breath. And if it's going to work out in the future, you probably need a month, 2 months, 3 months to see what it's like to be apart and to see if you're better off, because 8 years of hurting each other and saying low blows, there's obviously something there and there's contempt being built. And the longer you go with low blows, the thing about low blows and things that are significantly hurtful when you say them, people carry them and then they start to layer them. And then, one day they come home out of a day of traffic and they're pissed off and you did something wrong. You did something like you didn't, take your shoes off before you went in the house. I don't know, something really small, and they fucking blow up and you're like, what the fuck are you getting so angry for? Because they're not upset about you not taking off your shoes. They're upset about the fucking 5 or 6 layers of other things that they're carrying in their head that you said about them before. No, it was a girl. I'm pretty sure I heard my ex in the background, but it was hard to tell because I was at work. It gave me a laugh, though. Really? That's so immature, Brand New Skinner of her. Well, it sounds like she's thinking of you, right? From NY, but now in North Carolina. Wow, I get a lot of, this is so random. I just two days ago, someone that actually comes on the live stream quite a bit is actually from North Carolina. North Carolina! PD Pablo, remember that song? I always think of, and we're in the live stream, it's like North Carolina, I always think of basketball, college basketball when I think of North Carolina. You got Duke, you got Jordan's alma mater, North Carolina, you got NC State, right? How do you like North Carolina, Black Widow? You like that state? Most people that I talk to from there say they really like it. How do you highlight someone's name and respond to their message in the chat? I don't know. I don't know how to do that. I'm not sure. Maybe someone else can. You have the coolest job. What, doing this? Of course, I remember his hair. Who are you talking about? I'm sorry. Oh, you're talking about PD Pablo? Is that who I'm talking about? I don't know. Wow, you don't look 38. Well, thank you. I'll take that as a compliment. Thought you were under 30. Yeah. Well, I read this study they did, and I don't know where it was from, but it was really interesting. They took old people, like people in their 70s and 80s, I think. Would that qualify as old people? They took these people and they said, so their youth was like the 1950s. Maybe I'm getting this time wrong, but let's just use this as an example. So they set up a room and a place to hang out for those 10 or 12 people that were in the study. It might have been more. And they took magazines from the 1950s and they took like baseball games from the 1950s. They used music from the 1950s. And then they took measurements of the people's like nails, their hair, their skin. They took pictures of them. And after those people hung out in that environment for 3 weeks or a month, I should get a hold of this study. The people had considerably looked younger. Their nails grew faster. Their hair looked longer or grew longer because they measured it. So being in a young environment and being around other young people and thinking of yourself as young really helps you when you're aging. So I thought that was an interesting study. Really, really interesting. If you look at someone, you're like, damn, you look older. Think about who they're hanging out with. Great idea with cleaning out. Thanks. I've done it before because I've been a pack rat before. I'll be honest. I grew up that way. Our garage was always full of junk when I was a kid. My mom didn't throw out stuff, and I'd become that way. But when I had a breakup, I remember just being like, you know what? Fuck this. I don't even need this shit. I've been at ground zero for long enough. I don't need this sweatshirt. I don't need this extra pair of shoes. And donate it or give it to one of your friends. Rob's on deck. Send you an email today, bud. Thanks again, bud. I don't look 38 either. Well, good for you. I have an 18-year-old daughter who's about to start college next month. Well, congratulations, son. That's an achievement. Sweet. Good for you. In North Carolina? Like, they got the good universities, right? Good for you. What's she studying, just out of curiosity? Yeah, you don't. Sorry. Okay, yeah, absolutely, Dylan. If you ever want to like share that link on this live stream, that's fine. And you can always send me a link on email or whatever. But yeah, I would definitely, if you're a singer, man, now you don't get discovered by having a record deal. You can just fucking make music and ship it and put it out there for free. My girlfriend broke up with me because I paid the bills. Rockhead 15. How did you come up with the name Rockhead? I want to know. I've asked you before. I'm curious, bud. And what you want to elaborate on that? Your girlfriend wanted to pay the bills? Last night's discussion was legendary. Thanks, Rob. Thanks for being a part of it, and thanks for connecting some other people into the group and a live stream. I really appreciate it, man. I wrote you an email already, so I'm not going to continue on. Hey, it's okay. Too slow, but I've adjusted. Garth Brooks. Oh, God. So you know what I was talking about. I'm sorry I got late to that. Isn't that his alter ego was random as fuck? Oh, my God. I don't know how to highlight names either. Rob seems to know. I'm not sure how it works. I know what you're saying, that will happen when a guy does all the work with the bills. I mean, was that the reason? Or are you saying I paid the bills and she still didn't stay? That's a different scenario. Yes, I would likely know I did it before. 1 sec. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she misses me because while I didn't get many answers, I believe she met a guy who lived closer, but she didn't expect me to disappear from her life. She wanted to keep in touch. Pack rat in recovery. I've never heard that term. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, right now I have to go through another spring cleaning probably because I've been living in the same place for quite a while, and it's a bigger place than I lived at. And for some reason, the bigger the place I live at and the more areas to store shit, sometimes I'll be like, oh, I don't want to throw that away. I don't want to throw that away. And that comes from a place of lack. So, yeah, and when you throw shit out, it's like, fuck this. Why didn't I even need this? And I noticed, Judy Jack, people or friends that really are successful and really doing well, their houses are really extremely neat. My house is clean, but I can't leave stuff around a little bit sometimes, and I'm working on that. Last month, I've just made an effort to make my bed every morning, which is something that they recommend in a lot of different books and different things to start off your day. Even if it's just a comforter or a blanket, it's to start off your day like that. I just started doing that. I have a new morning routine that I really like, actually. Well, that brand new Skinner, that's a good thing. She wanted to keep in touch, but you're doing your thing, you're moving forward, and you're just fucking fine, right? Oh, I didn't check yet. We'll check now. Okay. We don't need to discuss the email on here or anything like that. I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you, yes. Pitt, okay. She's going for fine art. She wants to do photography, but that might change. LL, who knows? Well, at least you're open. Pitt is a community college. I went to community college for years. So I like the community college route because you save money, and then if you change your mind, it's all good. Always had a part-time job too, so it's not as much pressure. So community college is a good route. It was for me because California, if you wanted to go to some of the schools, it used to be, well, 19 years ago when I was in junior college, or 20 years ago when I started, it was way cheaper. It was like 12 or 13 bucks a unit. So congrats on that. That's nice of you as the mom to realize that it probably, if she wants to change her mind or something. I always think photography nowadays, I mean, you definitely want to get into something with video, because I think, I could be wrong, I think that if you could use video and photography, because video seems to be where everything's going. Like pictures right now, this is just my opinion, but it seems like a lot of people can take good pictures just with their phone, where back in the day, I've talked about this before, I used to work at a Long's drugstore. I don't even think they have Long's anymore. Now they're called CVS or something. And no question is a dumb question. I'll get to it in a minute. I worked at developing 35 millimeter film. So a big machine when you used to get photos. And you used to have to really to get a good shot, you'd get one out of the 35 millimeter roll or two shots. But now I think with like all the apps and all the different things, I think a lot of people can come up with good pictures and be amateurs. I mean, a friend of mine's gone to school for photography, and I will say when she takes pictures, they look really good. I just wonder about that. I wonder about that field. Because, when I was a kid, we used to, like, my mom would want us to do like a Christmas picture at Montgomery Ward's or one of these places, or J.C. Penney's would have like a photo place. Maybe you know about this kind of stuff, Black Widow, because you're 81. But you'd go over like a family picture and have a photographer take the picture or something. But now I don't think people do that anymore. They just use their iPhones that are high quality. So I wonder how you could stream photography into something lucrative. Okay, so how I came up with my name when I was 11, I was creating my YouTube account, and I thought it was asking for my password, but it was actually asking for my channel name. I agree with you, Mac, but I do have stage fright, and my main goal is to steal all of Justin Bieber's fans. That sounds like bad intentions. There's enough fans in the world that you don't need to steal Justin Bieber's. You can make up your own DBs. Coach Mac, this might be a dumb question. Like I said, there's no dumb question. If I do want to stay with him, can I leave my stuff there as storage and stay with my family? Or does that not have the same impact as a breakup on him? No, because your stuff is a piece of you. And so he'll use it like, hey, you need to get your shit out of here right now, as a negotiation tactic in the future. And you're probably nodding your head right now like, yeah, he probably would. You know that deep down, right? Because if he gets upset that you're not coming back, he'll be like, well, you need to get your stuff out of here because I'm going to rent that room out or something like that. He'll create some dynamic. So it keeps you connected where you're not broken up. Because if your stuff has any value, you're going to jump when he says jump to get your stuff. So take control of that particular situation so you're not vulnerable in the future, and find another friend's house or a garage or something else, or just downsize your shit, because you called it stuff. When you call stuff, it's not significant to you. The significant items, get them right now and bring them to the house. So you should, if you're going to stay with your sister or whatnot, get the significant items, get them over to your house. The other stuff that if you had to be without it, you'd be okay, then it's fine. She also wants, but what you need to do too is, like, when you're in a situation like that, get fucking creative, write a mind map, journal out and go, all right, I don't want to leave my stuff at his house as storage. So what are other options to leave? And your subconscious will start running through places and different things and create, oh shit, I totally forgot about this friend that has a 3-car garage and has extra space. You'll start going through things. And the thing is, A lot of people, oh, I don't want to ask that person for. People like helping other people when they're in need. So if you're in need and you're going through a breakup, and you don't need to go out pity seeking, but if you're like, oh, I just don't want to ask that person. If they're a friend or a family member and you're doing something with good intentions and honesty and you're trying to get out of a bad relationship, then people will help you. And if they don't, they're telling you who they are as a friend. Thanks for the like. Cheers. She also wants to do modeling too, but either way, I just want her to be successful in anything she does. Well, that's good. A really cool thing I mentioned a lot on this thing, Black Widow, and something that she could probably take a look at is called Ikigai. Google that. It's a really cool diagram. And if she's in a place in her life that she's trying to discover what she wants to do, that's kind of something cool. Elena Dion. iCryptic. We got all these new people today. Awesome. I never use the word awesome either. Check that out, Black Widow, Ikigai for your daughter. Also, if I was someone that was just going into college, I think the book Mastery by Robert Greene would be a great book. Actually, I have the book right here. Right there, Mastery by Robert Greene. No problem, huh? I'm a teacher by trade, so I teach at the university level. So that's why this is something I tell my students to all do. Get in touch. That Ikigai is really, really a nice diagram to go on. For some of the people that are new to the live stream, sometimes we get off topic of different things from the break, but it's all relative to living a better life, right? And being supportive. Judy Jack, okay, I'm going out of my comfort zone, not ready to date again, but a guy friend offered to go with me on my Disney World trip just to act like a couple of overage kids. Well, that's fun. Have a good time, and don't even look at him as a guy friend. Just look at him as someone that's going with you, and if something happens, don't have your guard up. You're a mature individual that knows what she wants and knows what she likes, and if you guys take it to a different level, fine. Have a good time. Shit. And if sparks fly, let them fly. Mac, do you have a hidden talent, like being good at drawing or being a great singer? But ironically, those two things would be the least talented I'm at. I've never sung, when you have karaoke at someone's party or something like that. I've never done that before. I don't consider myself a good singer or a good dancer in that sense. Drawing, I'm stick figures all day, all the time. What would be a hidden? I'm good at making impressions. So, like, if I meet someone, I can mimic them quite easily. So when I was young, like joking around or making jokes, I was always good about that, about teachers or actors. I can do certain actors. So I guess that would be one that you wouldn't know. Giving good, would you call that impressionist? Giving impressions? I don't know. Basketball. I'm not an NBA player, but I'm better than when I walk on a basketball court in the park and someone sees me, they don't think I can really play. And then played a lot when I was young, so I'm pretty decent. Pretty decent. Do you have a hidden talent, Skinner? It's so funny you brought this up because this is something I was going to talk about in a future stream. It's funny, dude. It's a synchronicity. I was thinking about it today as this being a topic because I want people to get, when you come out of a breakup, it's really nice to get a little more creative about what you have to offer. And thinking about your hidden talents is part of that Ikigai. Interesting. Good question, Brandon Skinner. I liked it, bud. I always say that for a joke, but then I think to myself, oh, I'll have to deal with them. It's annoying dealing with girls. Trust me, I was chased by girls in primary school, and no, it wasn't a kiss and catch. Okay. Thanks, Black Widow. I'm sure that'll be helpful. Coach, how do I take away the anxiety of my ex meeting someone new while we are broken up? I dumped him because constantly arguing. Okay, so let me unpack this a little bit because you got a 11-year relationship. He's still in love with me. I'm still in love with him, but watched your previous videos where you talked about space. My brother introduced your videos to me and said he followed you your no contact and it worked for him. Do I do no contact if we both still love each other but need space? I would recommend that you send me your full story to writemac.com. If it's an 11-year relationship, it's a lot deeper than a shallow question like this. Like, how do I take away the anxiety of my ex meeting someone while we are broken up? I need to know what's going on in the relationship to give you a tailored response, if that makes sense. My short answer is you're probably going to have to deal with the anxiety and not run from it. Okay, because if you were together 11 years, there's going to be anxiety and worry that the individual and your guys are still in love. My question would be, if you guys are both still in love with each other, what's the problem? Because getting in touch with the problem will help with the anxiety. So you validating the reason why you broke up will counter the anxiety, because it should reinforce the idea that you're doing the right thing. Does that make sense? I've mentioned this before. A short, quick thing if you get anxiety is EFT, emotional freedom technique. There's a bunch of people on YouTube that do this. There's a bunch of examples of it that are free. It's tapping and it's repetitive stuff, and it tends to help people out of immediate anxiety issues. Something I'm studying right now. It's something that I've tried in the past and it works. It's helpful. So that would be a short fix, the EFT, and I'm not going to go all into that because you can just go EFT on YouTube and find a bunch of stuff. But tell your brother thanks for spreading the word. And like I said, you want to take it a step further. 11 years is a long time, so you should be unpacking that fully, because that's going to affect. He keeps disrespecting, verbal abuse on both sides. Says he will try and give me space. Yeah, well, you need to get to a point where you need to get clear on why you're breaking up, and to do that, write out your full story. Send it in, and then if you want a private, if there's verbal abuse or something, if you want a private video response, that's $65. If you want to do a private coaching, it's $75 for a half hour. And both of those, if you don't feel like they're useful and helpful, I will refund you. I've never had to give a refund, but I do ask you at the end, was that useful or helpful? And if you say yes, we're good. If you say no, then I'll say, hey, how do you want me to refund you on this? I will not get your ex back or cure you from anxiety or sadness, but we can get clear on things and develop some kind of roadmap of how you want to move forward. That I can do. And if I don't really want to get paid if I didn't help you. So knock on wood, I haven't had it happen yet. So I'm pretty confident to give a guarantee. I don't know if anyone else is doing that. Well, thanks for the hearts. Don't get those all the time. Can always use an extra heart. Yeah, like, see, when you say keeps disrespecting me or verbal abuse, when you write that story, I need to know the specific examples of what you find disrespectful or what you find to be a verbal abuse, because everyone's different in that regard. And when you actually write your story, you're going to get more in touch with where you're at. Because right now what happens is when you break up, you're talking to different friends and you're giving snippets, you're giving pieces, you're giving moments, and then you're holding shit back because maybe your mom or your cousin or your brothers, you feel like they're going to judge you on one part of that. But when you write me the story, I'm not biased. I don't have any history with you, so I can be honest with you. And then you can just tell, when you can just write everything and tell the complete story, that's therapeutic. If you have 11 years deep, you'll probably have a lot to write. So you probably have to do a private video response or a live coaching. That's deep. That's a long relationship. I unpacked and I will not pack that damn bag again. 9 years of waiting for things to get better. Waiting for 2 to get better. No, sir. I threw the suitcase at head. Okay, thank you. You have an amazing job. Well, thank you. That's the second person that said amazing job. I don't even think of it as a job, to be really honest with you. I threw the suitcase at his head. Okay. I don't know if that's a good thing. Long time, 9 years. You have ultimate patience. Well, I mean, okay, so the way you reframe that whole situation, you put your best foot forward, you tried, and then you realize, you know what? Life's too short. I need to move on, right? And if I don't move on, what am I doing? What's the definition of insanity? It's doing the same thing over and over again, right? And a lot of people come to me and they're like, oh, I wasted my time. Well, no, you didn't. You took a shot, right? You realized it now, and it's better realizing it now than realizing it 6 years from now, right? You gained some Worst case scenario, you have a really bad relationship. You learn from it. Worst case scenario, you have a really bad relationship. You learn what you don't want in a future relationship. Worst case scenario, you have a really bad relationship. And then when you break up, you're going through a really bad time. And then you get through it, you get over it, maybe it takes you years. And someone else in your sphere of influence, or someone else in your friend zone or your groups of friends or colleagues, goes through a breakup 3 or 4 years later, and you say, hey, let's go out to lunch. Let me talk to you. I've been there before. I'm here for you. You actually have some kind of built-in compassion for this individual because you fucking been through it. And that's what brought me to this job. 10 years ago, I had a really bad breakup. I thought it was like such a big deal in my life. I'd never been so down and out, and I was surprised by it. And now I'm able to do this because I've actually been at ground zero. And so that's where you reframe things and you go, it wasn't fucking wasted time. It was life experience. Your chat weirdly keeps kicking me out. Well, that's good to know because the numbers keep fluctuating. I don't know why that would be. No one else has told me that they get kicked out of the chat. Maybe I have to look into how that works. Thanks for the feedback on that, Bianca. Is that because you're not making a comment? I don't know. I'll have to look into that. Thanks for telling me. Because the numbers go from like 7 to 4 to 5 to they're fluctuating quite a bit. When are you not a fan of the silent treatment, Coach Mac? Of no contact? Good fucking question. Oh, it's internet? Is it mine or your internet? I don't know. My internet's pretty good. Is your full-time job a coach? No, I also am a teacher. I don't talk about where that is or the location, but I've been a teacher for 9 years. Teach at a university. The viewers. Okay, thanks for that, Cryptic. Thanks for the heads up. Okay, Alana, Dean. Good question, because a lot of people, I don't want to get into where I'm at or what I teach too much, because I try to keep that separate. It's not that I'm hiding it or anything like that, because I'm proud to be a teacher. But I'll probably at some point have a chat or a video specifically on that, because people want to know about that. But don't take it personal. I'm not going to go into that right now, but I teach at the university level, and I've been teaching that for a while. I'm sorry, I lost my place here. So this was a good question. It's funny when these things come up, it's like, bop, 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 bop. And I'm quick, I process quick, but then you're like, oh, lost my spot here. There's definitely times when no contact's not in place. It's case by case and relationship and breakup, and that's why I need to know your story. So sometimes there is cases where I'm like, wow, the way it ended, it didn't seem like there was a lot of layers of contempt and problems and issues and anger. For example, if you're in a long distance relationship and the problem was distance, it wasn't cheating or it wasn't lying, it was just the distance. Well, then you could take a week or 2 weeks away from each other and then go, you know what, I'm going to come out there and visit and just see if being in each other's presence was the issue. That could be one example of it. And I've even done that in my life in a long distance relationship that ended. I said to myself, wait a minute, it's just the distance, right? But no contact is when negotiations have stopped. The relationship was really bad. There's anger on both ends. There's layers and layers of contempt. You're not getting anywhere when you talk, and you're upset, or you just feel like the individual is not going to meet you halfway or change the way you want them to change. But if the problem is fixable and you love each other enough, you still need a little bit of time after a breakup. If you get back together right away, there's still some insecurity that the rope broke. You know, you're sitting there, so you still need some time to build up some missing of each other and whatnot. So a little bit of silence in between is good. And the breakup happened for a reason. So you have to be really honest with yourself what that reason was. You have to be really clear on that. What people tend to do is develop some narrative or storyline of the breakup in which they want to believe. Like someone will tell them, oh, I just need some time and space because my mother's having some health issues and I want to focus on that. I've had people be like, she's lying. I'm like, really? She might be telling the truth. You've been together 8 months, and that her mom comes first, and right now it's just too much for her. And the idea that you think that she's lying is something that you're just not wanting to accept the reason. You see what I'm saying? So that's why it becomes very important for me to know the story that you're telling and how true it is and how you're interpreting the breakup. Does that make sense, Bianca? I did, and I got tired. He was no good for me. He now realizes he messed up, but I'm too far gone, and I don't want to hear it. I'm good. Well, I like the close. I'm good. A lot of people say I'm done. I always say that. When you say I'm done, that's a big, powerful statement out of a breakup because you're telling your subconscious mind, I'm done. Burn the ships. You're taking over the island. Is there a full-time job? Is this your full-time job? I answered that. Yeah, when I log back in, the viewers say 33. Really? The viewers say 8 for me. Live chat has been acting up all day on last one I joined. Okay, so maybe it's that. Cool. Well, 8's enough for me to get a lively chat. It's just fine. Mac, my ex literally just messaged me that she didn't know whose number it was, but now she does. Then why did you call it? That sounds suspect, Skinner. Don't read too much into it. I mean, if you, Mac, my ex literally just messaged. Oh, it just said it the same thing. How do you feel about it, Skinner? Did it upset you? Did it make you happy? Have you ever broken up with someone you're in love with, Coach? I feel like that's the worst kind of breakup. Yes, I have. Oh yeah, of course. I don't, that's a good question because because that's a good question because I just said earlier, if you're still in love with each other, what's the problem? So you're right. And being in love and loving someone are different. This is something I talk about, Samantha J. I like the name, by the way. Samantha J. Maybe there's 37 people listening. I don't know. Yeah, I've been in love before, but then circumstances came in place. And I think doing this for a while now, that a lot of times when we think we're in love and that rose petals and wine glasses stayed and all is well, and I call it the honeymoon phase, and you're so excited and everything's so great, and then 2 years, 3 years go by and you start living together and things get monotonous and things get taken for granted. Then you'll still be in love for moments, but then out of love for moments. It's more moment to moment. But that's a good question. I have to unpack that a little deeper because I don't know if I was in love. One of my breakups comes to mind. I was still in love, but the circumstances of our relationship, we were in a long distance relationship, and it just began to take a toll. And so it was begrudgingly agreed upon to end the relationship. It was sad, but it wasn't like, oh, I hate you or anything like that. I mean, my past relationships, as I said this before, I haven't had numerous, but the women that were my girlfriends and we were official, we had good relationships, good, healthy, honest relationships. But yeah, the endings weren't always great, but no contact worked for me after how long I hated it at first, but somehow I always distracted myself. I need to try no contact. Stop saying need and stop using the word try. It's really important the kind of words you use with yourself and say, I'm doing no contact now. It's different than saying need and try. Need is in some ways negative to your subconscious and the way you're thinking, and trying gives you a way out. So I'm doing no contact right now. And the reason why some people do 30 days is because it just gives you a finish line. It doesn't guarantee you anything like your ex is going to come back in 30 days or anything like that. But the idea that like, let me do this for 30 days and then see where I'm at, I think that's good. Let me do this for 45 days and then see where I'm at. That's fine. It doesn't guarantee you nothing, or it's not going to produce a result. It's just going to put you in a situation where you got a finish line. So Samantha J, instead of saying I need to try, go, I'm going to do 30 days of no contact, no social media. I'm going to put myself in that zone. If my ex contacts me during those 30 days, I'll deal with it on the spot. Oh, yes, long distance, unfinished business, live and learn. Well, to me, long distance is circumstance, right? Because usually it's job, or someone needs to be closer to home, but usually it's job or career, and you love each other and you're good, but that circumstance can't be overcome. And a long distance relationship's never long-term long distance. Who gets married and goes, yeah, we're going to be 8 hours apart for the next year or two. But for some reason, boyfriend and girlfriend go, yeah, we've been long distance for this long. It's just over time, some people make it work. There's exceptions to the rule. I've known people that have done it that are extremely conservative and not very outgoing necessarily, that they're able to do that. But eventually someone moves to the other town and meets the other person, and they end the long distance. There has to be a finish line on that. And unfortunately, the longer long distance goes, the more the probability that it's going to end, and someone's going to meet someone, or someone's going to meet someone they're interested in. They didn't cheat, but they're thinking about it. Well, I'm definitely done with him. I feel a sense of release and my sanity is back. Well, good for you, hon. I'm happy for you. Absolutely true. My ex was a narcissist. Well, there's a lot of those out there. I think everyone has a bit of narcissism to them. Extreme narcissism is people that are just extremely selfish, and they're highly manipulative, and they find ways to use individuals, and those are the people that are dangerous. And those are the people that they basically spin a web, and if you get caught in the web like a fly, it's pretty hard to get out of it. And after you can deal with narcissists at work or friends too, and after a year or after 2 years and you cut anchor from them, you realize, wow, they were manipulative. I'm not sure, to be honest. She added and deleted me on Snapchat on the 4th of July, and I find it hard to believe she just randomly called my number. She didn't randomly call your number. People don't do that. And didn't know it was me. Seems uncommon. It seems highly uncommon. I don't know what you want to do with that, but she was thinking of you. Like I said, I find it a bit immature, but I remember out of my breakup, I remember like a month. A month is usually the time, like 3 weeks to 4 weeks of no contact. That's when it gets really itchy for people. I don't know what the studies are on that, but that's usually what it is 3 to 4 weeks. People start to go like, are they ever going to call me? And so it's not surprising if it was the 4th of July. It's between 3 and 4 weeks. It's 3.5 weeks. Now, I don't like to tell people that, because then they go, oh, it's been 4 weeks and they still haven't called, because they're waning on that and hoping on that. It's just how it usually is. But yeah, I remember I got a call in the middle of the night from a number that I didn't know. And then I called back the number. It was like 2 a.m. It woke me up, or 1 a.m. And I didn't know the number. And the next day I looked up the number. This was like 10 years ago or 11 years ago. So you could look up the number through Google or something like that. And it was my ex's sister's phone number, I believe. So obviously my ex's sister probably didn't call me at 2 a.m. or called me at 2 a.m. because my ex was, I don't know, missing me. I don't know. But I didn't want to call my ex's sister the next day and go through all those. If she wanted to call me and talk to me and be a mature individual or an adult, then she could have called me herself at a reasonable time. Because if someone's doing that at a weird time, they might be drunk dialing too. And that's a conversation you probably don't want to have if you've been broken up and no contact. She texted me on my birthday and wanted to get me to say happy birthday to her, but I just responded with thanks. Well, if you're comfortable with thanks, that's enough. You can keep it neutral and cool and honest. Do you believe people should date right away after a breakup? Depends on the situation, but for the most part, no. But if you're okay, I'll tell you this. Some people say if they've been in 11 years, 8 years, 7 years, their relationship's been dead for 2 or 3 years. So to them, when they get out of the relationship and finally make the jump to date someone else is not a big deal. So it's completely individually based on your situation. I'm doing no contact, and it's pretty easy right now because he doesn't contact me like he should anyways. Why should he contact you? How come every coach recommends the gym after a breakup? Because it's the most natural, easy thing, and not even the gym. I'll just say exercise. You don't need to join a gym. Sometimes if you're not into exercise, a gym can be overbearing because it suggests that you need to lift weights, and there's a certain collective subconscious in the gym that can be intimidating to people that are out of shape. So if you go into a gym and you're out of shape and some guy's walking around, he's yoked and he's got his fucking tank top on and his hammer pants and his fucking, big high top shoes, and he's got, he's so big, you walk in, you're like, fuck, this guy's been in the gym for 10 years. What am I going to do here? Or you walk in and you're a woman, there's some woman that's like gorgeous, great body. It can be intimidating. So I think that some people think gym, they don't like it. Right? So if you don't want to go to the gym, just fucking exercise. Join a yoga gym. Do Pilates. I don't know. Someone was saying they do. What's that? My mom does it. What's up, Nike One? What is it called? Zumba. I thought just, no offense, but I just thought because my mom does it at like 65, I thought it was like an older thing. But there's a lot of women that love that as a group activity. You don't have to go to the gym necessarily. You can go for walks to the park. You need to get exercise because it's good for your mental state. And when you sit around at home, that's when the mouse wheel turns over and over and over and over again. And that's when you start getting these crazy ideas and you start getting depressed and angry and anxiety. It's because you're not moving. You're not using your body. People aren't meant to do that. So if you don't like the idea of the gym, then just switch it over to exercise. Switch it over to getting active. But the funny thing is people complain about that, and I'm not saying you are, and they're usually the people that are like, I don't want to go to the gym. All right, don't go to the gym. I don't care. But if you want something that's not a pill or a medicine, which a lot of people seek for depression now and stuff, the greatest natural inhibitor of a better mood is exercise. Challenge me on that. I don't know what else is. I know some people are thinking of a couple of different things. I mean, what's the greatest natural thing you can do that you can get at any time that can beat exercise and put you in a good mood? Some people are like, "Oh, I don't like exercise. It doesn't really put me in a mood." If you go out for 30 minutes or 40 minutes and you're trucking and it's really difficult for you to go for a run or go for a walk, when you get finished after 30, 40 minutes and you have a sweat, I guarantee you feel better. It's not about the struggle when you exercise. It's about the end. She also, I don't know what FT means. That means foot to me. Me a day after my birthday and said it was an accident. See, that's one of those things. It's passive aggressive behavior. And that's not going to work because what they're doing is they're throwing out like a lure, Judy Jack. They're throwing out a lure and they're going, oh, I just called you by accident. But if you want to chase me, if you want to call me and give me attention, that's fine. Because to them, they don't want to be the one to give in. So usually people like that are passive aggressive or highly stubborn. Stubborn people just won't call, actually. The gym is the temple. It can be for people. And breakups, one of the greatest times to start a gym routine or exercise routine because you have extra time and you're insecure about your looks. It's like people go out and buy expensive clothes and shit, right? That's fine. I'm wearing like Polo brand clothes or something like that. Maybe someone considers that expensive. I don't know, right? But at the end of the day, what makes someone attractive is the body, right? Someone was just saying earlier in a live stream a week ago, Sabina, she's on off and on. She's from Italy. And she's like, a guy in a white t-shirt and jeans, that's the best look. Well, I mean, some guys would be like, oh, you got to get dressed up. Well, if you look good and you got a pretty good body, you just need a white t-shirt and jeans. And I'll tell you something else. The same outfit works for a good-looking woman. You know what I mean? So the thing about exercise is you kill two birds with one stone. You look better and you feel better mentally. And if you don't, then you're not doing something right in it. Coach, if my ex keeps texting me, do I just keep ignoring him? I need to know the situation. So I need to know the story and what do you want from the situation and where's your power. If you want the individual back or if you want to move on because the relationship's toxic, then you need to probably have some time away from them and be in no contact for a while. Just get up and get outside. People, every day I'm up at 4 a.m. Sometimes I'll go for a run or just walk. All your excuses and distractions are asleep at that hour. Not everyone's going to wake up at 4 a.m., but good for you. I've been waking up a lot earlier recently, and it's fucking nice. I wake up between 5:30, sometimes 5 a.m., 5, in between 5 and 7, because my schedule is not the same every day. But people that are highly successful, Nike One, there's a lot of people in the world that they wake up early at 4 a.m. So yeah, I'm shy and I love group classes at the gym. You might be surprised. Group classes are great for that because you have a common goal, and at the end of class, everyone feels good, so they're a little bit more outgoing. Good for you, Judy Jack. So true. Love the endorphins. Like I said, I explained that deeper than the gym because, like I said, the gym can be intimidating to some people. Rob, I asked, what's up? Hope all is good with you, bro. Thanks, Rob. Scientifically proven that vitamin D helps aid getting out of depression. Yeah, get some fucking sun. Luckily, you live in Diego. The sun helps. That's why look at certain areas like San Diego or LA. People generally seem a lot happier or friendlier. Maybe that's debatable. But in my experience, places with better weather have friendlier people. Nike, any new Nikes lately? I saw those new Jordans that there's a new, well, no, not a new Jordan, a retro Jordan. It's a gray one. It said Jordan 30, but that can't be correct. They look cool. $7,000, over $200 though. Nothing like being up before the sun and getting after it. Well, you're lucky too because you live in a warm climate, dude. Nike Element, React a few pairs, just cop some Air Force American flag. Okay. Kind of glad this breakup happened since I go to the Army next month. It would have been way harder to be in a relationship in a way. Well, subconsciously, maybe you made it happen because of that reason. Sometimes subconsciously your mind's running and producing some kind of plan for your future that you don't even know. But if you're going to the Army, yeah, it probably might be best. Might be best to go in that way because you'd be spun if you're making a commitment like that and going away to training and something like that. I haven't done it before, but it's going to be new. It's going to be consuming your mind at the time. And if you were thinking about your ex, like what is she doing right now, or who's she with, or who's she talking to, it probably would work counter against what you were trying to do in the Army. But the nice thing about something like that, they're going to have a system in place. They're going to keep you busy, and you're going to have camaraderie within the group. So that's going to help out a lot, Cryptic. You have something to look forward to. Weather effect on mood it is. Have you ever met people from the UK? Wolf Gray 4 Jordan, what you're referencing to? Wolf Gray, I like that. I just saw it I was just combing around Facebook or something like that, and I saw them. I was like, oh, those are nice. Nike was the band pair. Bianca Evans. How old is this individual? Hi, Rob. He's 33. Mac, not sure if you responded, but should I say, okay, cool? I'm sorry. What was your question, Brand New Skinner? I'm happy to answer. I'm a little lost. Mac, not sure if you responded. I just say, okay, cool. In response to what? In response to your ex calling you by accident? I had 2 sons in the Army. Good for you. Nice, Judy Jack. A little response. My father's Marine. I've mentioned that before, so. She sent a text or she called you? You said she called you. I'm a little confused now. What did her text say, Brand New Skinner? She called you, then said she called you by accident, right? If I were you and you were playing the mystery game, I would just leave it alone because there's no reason to say, okay, cool, you dialed me wrong. Okay, cool. You could just say, okay, more neutral, more mysterious, more like, oh, is he upset or is he not upset? Yeah, I think it involves her calling, her or her friend calling, then say they called him by accident, and then her texting and saying it was an accident. Yeah, I was just going to say, okay has so much power. Okay, just saying, okay, someone will be like, because it's so fucking neutral. So then she's going to have to deal with what she thinks. She texted me about 10 minutes ago. Yeah, okay's fine, or leave it alone. Okay. And I bet in a day or two or something like that, were you mad or how have you been? Because okay leaves it like that. If you said, oh, Cool. Da-da-da. And you're all wordy with it if you need. He's saying she didn't know it was my number, but now she knows. Yeah, okay. I'd go with okay if it was me. You seem like you're in a neutral place anyways. Evan's at certainly an age where most guys know that they want and most are looking for something substantial. You'd hope so, Rob. You'd hope so, bud. Right? I wonder how this works with the number of people. People are saying there's 30 people watching or listening, and it's showing me 9. Thanks for the likes, folks. I appreciate it. Thanks for joining today, Bianca. You've been on deck for an hour and 20 minutes now. Judy Jack, as always. Brand new Skinner was first on deck, first mate for the day. If her text message doesn't have any substance and it's just her trying to get your attention because she's lonely and bored, don't answer a text message. That would be the other thing I'd say. If you answer it, okay is fine, or not answering it at all. Nike one's right. 30 views, 9 watching now. Thanks, Cryptic. Carmelo Mello. I realized the person who played me. He never was serious about me, nor never wanted more with me. I learned my lesson. Well, lessons learned are gold, because those are crystallized, right? Those you can keep, throw them in your back pocket, and save them for later when the same shit happens again. You go, wait a minute. I've seen this fucking map before. Good attitude, great reframe, Carmelo Mello. There's obviously more people than the numbers show. She responded. Oh, you just wrote okay, so she responded, sorry. Leave it alone. How far into the relationship should it be before committing to someone? That's up to you. That's on your agenda and where you're at. I wouldn't put a number on that. I would put more of a feeling base on that. You know who you are. You have experience dating, and you have experience in relationships. And so I think that's more of a feeling-based thing rather than, a month or 2 months or 3 months. Certainly there's been times when people meet people and they're like, wow, we were meant to be, or the timing's so right, or this or that. And I certainly won't want you to go like, oh, I'm putting up 2 months. But obviously as a woman, who is it? Steve Harvey. He has that book. He's got some principles about that. You don't want to be too easy, right? I think that goes both ways. But I would say it's more of a feeling. But how far into the relationship should it be before committing to someone? I mean, that's up to you on an individual level. 90-day rule. Okay, tell me about the 90-day rule. What is the rule? For me, as an individual, if I'm going to commit in a relationship, I don't put a day or a number on it, but eventually it just kind of happens. And in my past relationships, I don't think I've ever been like, will you be my girlfriend? I think it's time for us to be. And usually, in my case, and this is following Mr. Corey Wayne, the legend continues, this is something I've done in my own life. Usually the woman brings it up and starts being like, kind of like this, and it becomes kind of a discussion, because when you're seeing each other, to put a label on it in the beginning, to have fun and enjoy each other's company and not put a lot of pressure and expectations on it, is a really good place, I think. I think you have to feel it, because I just won't want to restrict you if you're in a really good thing, and then the individual's like, are you not feeling it? Or what am I missing here? And you're like, well, I follow a 90-day rule. It's kind of rigid. Where you date someone, find out where they're at before you give up the cookie for 90. Oh, the cookie. If you did that, I wouldn't say it's a bad route, but you might be eliminating some really good catches, because some people aren't going to wait around 90 days for that long. They might take it personal. Yeah, I think that's the one I saw, Rob. Those look pretty sweet. I'm at a point now. If I bought something like that, I don't even want to wear them. The nostalgia of them. That's a big thing to collect kicks, right? And the thing is, I wear flip-flops most of the time, so I don't even wear the shoes. Got the rainbows. This is a good chat so far. I'm glad you came on deck today, Black Widow, Carmelo Mello. It's really good. Bianca Evans, Cryptic. For everyone that came a little late, we talked about the secret to happiness. I'll make another video that's not a live stream discussing some of the things more in depth of what I think the secret to happiness is. Because I think a lot of people think they know and stuttering. Obviously, a lot of people think it's money, and if you meet rich people, a lot of times they'll say, like, I thought this would make me happy and it didn't. But one of the things that I've known in my own life, living different places, is camaraderie is big. I mentioned that earlier on in the live stream. So camaraderie at work, camaraderie with your family, camaraderie with your friends, camaraderie at a cafe that you eat at. And camaraderie means that you get along with people. It's a deeper connection than just friendship. You care about each other. You're there for each other. And a lot of times, we're lacking that. We're lacking that, right, in different areas. And it just takes the opposite of camaraderie, some kind of toxic individual at the workplace, some kind of toxic individual in your family. And I'll say this, your family's a little more difficult, but when you get to a certain age, when you're young, and I know this from experience in my own life, when you're young, you can't really control your family dynamic. You're probably there till you're 18 in most cases. A lot of grandparents are great. Oh, I was out of the house at 14 or 15. That doesn't really happen that often anymore. But you can't control that. When you get older, the whole reason of, getting your shit together and moving forward in your 20s, you should be able to go, you know what? This certain relative or this certain environment in my family is toxic, and I don't have to be there anymore. I don't have to deal with that. I can choose my new friends, my new relationships. And so what I'm saying is, when you're at a job, I've had jobs before, and I'm like, damn, I really like that job. It wasn't about the money usually. It was about the job being fulfilling and the job having really good camaraderie with the people you work with. Like, you develop friendships with people you normally wouldn't. I've worked with a lot of different people, a lot of different ages. And that's what it gives me the ability to connect now and breakup coaching with a variety of different people. And looking back, someone would be like, oh, you didn't make that much money doing this or being a teacher or this, but the camaraderie levels, that helps a lot, man. That helps a lot. And being able to identify when there's a complete lack of camaraderie and moving forward, because that's how humans evolved. I think one needs to identify their purpose first. This is a big one, like the way of the superior man. And I'm going to do something in the future discussing purpose, because it gets mentioned so much and it's such a generalized statement, right? And when I was unpacking the way of the superior man, and he keeps talking about your purpose, how you go about finding that and how you go about living that. And I think your purpose can evolve. It's certainly nice. You see a musician, right? Someone that becomes a rock star, and their whole life, their purpose has been their music. Sometimes you even envy that person. You're like, wow, they can get tunnel vision on that. And that's what makes them attractive to the public. So like, wow, they can put everything they have into music and make it their life and not even groom themselves, right? Because that's why they have long hair and they're still fucking cool and all these other things, because they're following some purpose so deeply, so hard that it's above all else, and they feel good as long as they're in that lane. Never undervalue the cookie. I like it, Judy Jack. Oh my God. Rob, money only gets two things, in my opinion: the ability to eat better food, plus not worry about bills, so you can focus on purpose. Now that I'm getting older, I'd say that money is important long-term, unless you're going to have someone take care of you. Money is important if you're going to have a family and kids. And Derek Sivers is a guy I really like, that's done some TED Talks and written some books. That sounded random as hell. He's a guy I really like. If you guys want to check him out, I guess I could put his name down, but he's got some great TED Talks. He's got a great website. He's a cool dude. And he actually says, I believe that to be rich and to make money, is the best way. I don't know if he says to be unselfish, but it's the best way to be useful and helpful. And I look at it like that now too. I'm like, if I was rich, which if I had a ton of money, the person and the place I'm at now, I would be giving a lot, right? People would, oh yeah, sure, right? But I want to create some kind of scholarship program for study abroad students. I want to create some things. So it gives you the ability to do some great things. I think that people that get money too early and haven't evolved as a human being and gone through some things first, and those are the people that are going to go buy 10 Ferraris. And that's not really going to make you happy, right? Or, like the 20-room house. It's like me. If I was going to buy a house, I'd buy a house, and let's say I had $10 million. My goal is $10 million. Let's say I get $10 million. I'd probably live somewhere like La Jolla, near the beach, Windansea Beach, Nike, where I'm talking about, or PB, or one of these places that's really beautiful, near the beach, 2 or 3, 4-bedroom house, nothing bigger than that, close to everything I need to go to, and I wouldn't need something else. I would never want a 20-room house. I would never want a $300,000 car. That seems ridiculous to me. But those are my values and whatnot. And I don't see those things. But like one really nice house in a really nice place, yeah, that would be cool. They saw something in them more than they did with me. I wasn't the woman they were looking for. The nicest girls always get played. That's not true. These are the things, Carmelo Mello. The nicest girls always get played. Don't be running that line to yourself, because you're gonna make that true. It's gonna make you bitter, and it's gonna affect you going into new relationships. Because if you believe that to be true, every time you're going into relationships, you're not gonna trust people, and then they're not gonna trust you. So the idea that this has happened once or twice to you, but if you feel like nice girls get played, then you're gonna change who you are. That's not true. Nice girls get played by bad individuals or manipulative individuals. You got to take accountability for your role in the situation and who you were. Where's your responsibility in it? And don't be a victim. Ask yourself, where's your power? You told me you learned a lesson, but don't come out of it with the nicest girls always get played. That's a general statement that's not going to serve you. I wish that everyone could have all the money they ever wanted so they can see that it's not the answer to being happy. Well, like I said, I think that it's not the answer to being happy. It's what you do with it, right? It's what you do with it. Robin Williams had tons of cash, was never happy. Again, I don't know his individual struggles and problems. I've read that he had an alcohol issue and whatnot. A lot of people that are comedians and those kinds of things are ever seeking attention. It's like a basketball player or an NFL player or a sports player that retires, and then they go from this level of being idolized and hero and these great legendary sports and and then it's like, who are you now? You lose your identity. And I think that actors, they're constantly taking on different identities, and it fucks with their psyche. I've thought about this before. This is why they have a lot of problems. It's not the money. It's not their decisions. It's the problem that they're constantly taking on different identities and different roles in different movies. And when are they in touch with who they really are? That's just a hypothesis. Yeah, man, I like to have a little bit of everything. I'll go on sprees where I buy one certain brand. I've come to the conclusion that I let my relationships define my happiness. Not all my relationships, but those who I fall for deeply. It's a terrible pattern I'm having a hard time breaking. Well, the first step is realizing it's a pattern. The first step is realizing that it's a pattern, yeah. What's the cookie? I think Samantha, who said the cookie? Carmelo Mello? She said it would be 90 days till you get the cookie. So you do what you want with that cryptic. It's a cryptic message for iCryptic. I let my relationships define my happiness. So how are we going to flip that then, Black Widow? When was there a time in your life when relationships didn't define your happiness and you were happy? Think about that for a moment. Sometimes I just go on a tangent. Sorry, guys. My best friend has told me this time and time again, I didn't listen. Well, sometimes if it's a really good friend and you respect their opinion, you respect who they are in their own life, then that's a person you want to listen to their advice. They're living an authentic, good life, and they care about you, then you should listen to them. Because they're your video camera. They get to watch what you do. You can't see what you're doing. A relationship should complement your life, but not be the focal point. Very important towards achieving a balance of happiness. Right on, Rob. Should complement your life, I mean. I think it's a fine line, because I think that if you get drenched in love and passion and it's so great in the beginning, it's hard to put the brakes on. So there is this fine line, but when it's going really, really well, especially in the beginning, the honeymoon phase, and I've met people like this that'll be talking to me now that I do coaching and I've done it for a little while, and they're like gaga, googa over their new relationship. And then they're like, oh yeah, this and that. I'm like, oh, you're in the honeymoon phase. And they're like, I don't believe it's a honeymoon phase. It's like, okay, have you guys lived together for 2 years or 3 years or 4 years? Maybe I'm being negative, but after 2 or 3 years, the relationship will segment into something else, probably. And then when the changes come about, that's when the relationship changes a little bit into that unconditional love. Someone's going to have to make some sacrifices. But there are moments when people, they've been together for 20 years, 30 years, and they're just so in love. And a lot of times that means that their values are congruent and they're very happy with their roles in the relationship, and their roles are really well defined and their boundaries are really well defined. And that can happen. A relationship should complement. Once you hit the top of the mountain, you have to build another one. There's a lot of people that accomplish things that are one-timers. They want to live on that one accomplishment, then they wonder. I agree, Nike One. I'm at that point now where I'm trying to build a new mountain myself. True love. I invest too much, don't get what I put in, and I end up not happy. All right, let me flip this for you, Black Widow. This is what you come here for: good information, good perspective, and to reframe some negativity. Okay, whenever you're leading with good intentions and you invested good time and you did things well and you loved an individual, you don't keep a scorecard. You say, you know what? I led with my heart. I did the right thing. I had a good relationship. I believe I was doing the right thing, and take responsibility for where you might be wrong, or you might have done some things wrong. Take some full inventory, and that's what no contact and broken up time is for. But you need to reframe that and go, you know what? I'm not keeping a scorecard because I did some good deeds. It's like, how about this, for example? I was just at a cafe I go to regularly today, and this is a human thing. So where I go, it's not like California where you tip 15, 20% every time. Part of tipping in California or in the States overall is when you tip, the individual sees your tip, right? They get it in their hand. And what do? They look right away like, oh yeah, you left me $5 or $10. And part of you giving that tip is them seeing that you gave it to them, so you get credit for it, right? Now, if you were to give them a tip and they didn't know it came from you, would it feel the same? It's like they had a little tip jar in the front of the cafe today. And in my head, I'm thinking, I want to put a tip in there, but I want her to see that I put the tip in. And then I caught myself, I'm like, what the fuck's the difference? Give the tip with good intentions and don't keep a scorecard, right? And this is difficult to do, because what happens is when you start keeping a scorecard and doing good things, in the future, when you want to do good things and nice things for people, you're like, oh, I'm not going to get that back in return. And that's not what doing good things are meant to be. Doing good things as a practice, there is the law of karma, and I do believe in that to a pretty good level. Some people don't, because they're like, oh, bad people get a lot of good things. I think that at some point, karma, what goes around comes around. And so if I invest too much and don't get what I put in, that's an opinion. And you need to take inventory if your expectations are unrealistic, or that, you know what, I put a lot into that. I didn't get what I wanted out of it, but now I'm out of the relationship, and the next relationship I go into, I'm still going to put a lot into it and lead with good intentions. Why they're falling off, you have to keep building another one. I've been fucked over by the majority of the men I've dealt with, and I take full responsibility for my actions. Good, Carmelo Mello. That's part of it. When you have bad relationships, you need to know your role and take responsibility. And then you need to go, you know what? How am I going to fucking reframe my future and my identity into a place where I'm not accepting individuals like that? Because now I got a playbook on these people. these people that have taken advantage of me or this or that, because I played a role in it. I wasn't just some innocent victim, right? You go into a 7-Eleven or you go into a liquor store and you go in and get a soda or something like that, and someone comes up and goes, "Give me your wallet," right? That's not you. You didn't do something wrong. But if you want to take responsibility, you could say, "Oh, I was in there at midnight. I'm in a pretty bad neighborhood." You could start taking responsibility that you put yourself in a position like that. But that could just be by chance, right? When you put yourself into repeated bad relationships, there's something you're filtering for repeatedly that keeps producing the same result over and over again. It's not just bad luck or the other person. It's what you're willing to accept, and you played a role in it also. And that doesn't mean to put yourself down. That doesn't mean to make yourself feel guilty or shameful. That means to pick yourself off the mat and go on offense. Does that make sense? Yeah, that situation I've seen so many times. The thing is, a lot of people only realize it after a few failed relationships. Some people only repeat without looking for answers of improvement. True that. I feel you. I know what you're talking about. I got Vans boots. You got Vans boots? Like as in the Vans shoes, you got Vans boots? Location. I have a 2-bedroom, 1-bath in Goleta, and I honestly wouldn't trade it for 3 times the size elsewhere. And I used to be a residential real estate agent, and the wisest guy in the room would always say, location. Large lot, small house is fine, but location, corner lot, you'll never lose. You'll never lose, Mac. And the thing is, it's funny, people move out to the suburbs, they move to other areas, and they get these 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom, 3-bath houses with granite countertops and all this stuff, and then they go, oh shit, where's all our friends and family members that live 2-3 hours away? They don't want to come over for a barbecue. Really, you want location, and I'll give it a step further. This is something I've learned in my life. You want to be out of traffic. Traffic is a motivation killer in my book. If you can live somewhere where you don't have to deal with a lot of traffic, and especially you get home, you can walk to downtown, huge bonus. Huge. Give me the 2-bedroom, 1-bath. I know Goleta. Goleta is near Santa Barbara. That's a beautiful place. Heath Ledger, a good example of that. He played a lot of different roles, right, Nike? That's what I'm saying. I'm wondering, I'm not a trained psychiatrist or something like that. I read a lot of psychology, and I know a lot about it. But to change your identity that often and that deep, Brokeback Mountain to fucking the Joker, I'm an excellent actor, but when are you getting your head around, who am I, Heath Ledger? You played a role for 8 or 9 months, and they said that about Jim Carrey, that Jim Carrey got a little goofy on different things, and I like Jim Carrey. I liked him on In Living Color, Fire Marshal Bill. And then he started playing all these different roles and stuff. But changing identities would mess with you, I think. I mean, being famous and dealing with a lot of people like that would definitely mess with you. Sorry, I lost my place here. Wow, got a lot of comments here. Do you live stream every day? As of now, but I might miss sometimes. But I'm gonna try. I'm just caught myself saying trying after correcting someone else from saying trying. I'm doing my best to make it this time every day, but it's not realistic probably to be at the same time every day, being that sometimes I have live coaching sessions. So, and I have a schedule of teaching sometimes. So at this point, for this week till Sunday, I will be doing it at the same time every day, Mr. Cryptic. I put too much time into a man to the point that time is wasted and I can't even get that time back. The woman's honeypot is another word. They're different acronyms for the cookie. Oh, I get it. I get the cookie. I like cookies. Chocolate chip's my favorite, actually. Chocolate chip, oatmeal raisin, and or macadamia nut from Mrs. Fields. I haven't had one of those in years. Remember Mrs. Fields? Do they still have those in the States? You walk by and you smell those. Ooh. That's a good cookie. Again, Carmelo Mello, you didn't waste time. You just had a learning curve. That's it. You learned something. You didn't waste time. You met someone. You had a good connection. It didn't work out. Clarity. It's better than prolonging some 20 or 30-year relationship and not being honest. There's people out there that didn't end a relationship. Now, people that 20, 30, 40 years, 20, 30 years. My mother's had friends before that, like, the lady's been left after 30 years of marriage for the best friend. Someone might throw around wasted time there. I don't know, but that's hurtful. But on the flip side, they had 20 or 30 good years maybe. It's not wasted time. It's just life experience. Because if you weren't with that person, who's to say it would be better? Who's to say that if you weren't with that person, it would have been worse? You don't know. The fact you are here discussing it, looking for answers, puts you far ahead of others. Most people will do nothing but attempt to figure it out with trial and error. Good point, Rob. When I was with my daughter's father, after I left him, every relationship after has crashed and burned. So there's something there. There's a root to that. There's something you're carrying from that relationship. Something went wrong, and you're replaying it over and over again because it was such a traumatic thing the first time. So a lot of times, if the first relationship ended in someone cheating, then you're really insecure in the next relationship, and you're always looking for that. Or if the first relationship ended really surprisingly and they left you because of money, then the next relation, there's something you're probably holding there. I could get to the bottom of it in a coaching session. Yeah, that can be tough. How many times have you been in after the father left? If you rush into anything that's too quick, it's least likely. It won't last that long. It's not what it used to be. But if it does happen, it's rare. Okay. Yeah, but the infatuation phase is to be enjoyed for what it is. Good point, Judy Jack. The honeymoon phase, the rose petals and wine glasses, shit, I'd like many more of those in my life. That's a good time. I'm not going to say I wasted any time during those times. Later on, it wasn't like that prolonged. I mean, because when you have those moments in the beginning of a relationship, they're nice. And then when you start dating someone, you're like, oh, it's not like that moment, because there's certain individuals and certain timing in your life that you have those great connections, that honeymoon phase. And it's to be appreciated, it's to be enjoyed, and it's a little chapter in your autobiography. I haven't been with my daughter's father for over 10 years. Yeah, but it's like I said, since then you've had a string of relationships that are going wrong, and I'm just wondering if they're related to how that ended. And ultimately, what are you looking for? Okay, it's called limerence, coach. It's physiological term for honeymoon stage. Okay, I've heard of limerence before. It's like everyone likes narcissism. It's like selfish person. Judy Jack, yes, the infatuation phase doesn't last very long. That advice was from Mr. David Goggins, coach. I don't know specifically what. I know you like Goggins. He's a cool dude, man. There's a good interview with him on impact theory. That guy does good interviews. He's the guy that does the interviews. He's good. He's a little goofy though. You guys like your shoes, so maybe you like him on impact theory. A fully committed relationship, a person who is going to love me as much as I love them equally, their efforts match. Well, here's the thing. What I've noticed in the way you're framing this is you're very concerned with someone equaling your love. So you're running a scorecard, and if they don't meet up to your scorecard, you have a problem, and you probably become needy and a little bit upset, right? You become to breed contempt because you're thinking, I'm doing all this and you're not doing enough. There are certain types you will actively avoid, though. Absolutely. I find a few girls I know that constantly go after guys that I try to fix. Never works. I warn them, they didn't listen. There are others with red flags as well. I find a few girls I know that constantly go after guys that try to fix and never works. Well, I mean, guys do the same thing with women sometimes. I'm dealing with breakups sometimes. And out of the breakup, the guy's constantly concerned about her livelihood and who she's seeing because he's worried about her becoming promiscuous or drinking too much, and you're no longer responsible for that individual. But people that are into fixing individuals, it becomes part of who they are, and caring individuals. And the people that want to be fixed, they know that the individual strives on fixing them, so they keep having problems, if that makes sense. It's a two-way street. Too many relationship-wise, about 3 or 4. Rob, you want to be a relationship coach? You got it in you, it looks like. There's always something to learn from everyone and everything, even if it's what not to do. Absolutely, Nike gospel. Well, you're in the right place for answers. This is one of the best channels to gain knowledge. Well, thanks, Rob. I take that very kindly, and I think you're a part of that. So is Nike One, and so is all of you guys that come regularly. It is. I love it. Traffic. Traffic will create more problems psychologically than one thing. Dude, traffic's huge. 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 I just had a job the last 4 years teaching. I don't even consider it a job because I like teaching so much. 40-minute drive, but a lot of street lights and a lot of like stop and go. And I got used to it. I listened to my audiobooks and I made the most of it. I made it a positive thing. But I mean, you come home after work and it's just like you're done. You're done because you got to be on your P's and Q's when you drive. You don't realize it because you're just subconsciously doing it, but it takes a lot of mind work to drive, let alone in traffic. The frustration involved in that. That's what I'm saying. The next place if I'm moving somewhere, I'm living near downtown. When I lived in San Diego, I lived near downtown. I got home, I walked or rode a bike somewhere, everywhere. And it was outstanding. Some people, oh, why don't you come over here? I'm not going to drive 20, 30, 40 minutes at all. I'd rather just be in my area. It's a fucking privilege. Indeed, this channel, Masculine Energy, are, in my opinion, the 2 best live streams for answers in this field. Well, thanks, Rob. And I would second that. I haven't been to Kyle's live stream, but he was involved yesterday, and we seem like we agree on a lot of things. He seems like a cool dude. And I've seen his channel from afar grow. He's doing quite well. And the thing about him is he's authentic. He seems like he's being himself, and that's what I think shines. I've read about the psychology of acting having an effect on the actors and the roles they play. It makes sense, huh, Nike One? I've thought about this before. Playing those roles. Oh my God, yes, those are my favorite kind of cookies. What, Mrs. Field or having a kid buy that person who wasn't no good for you? We went from favorite cookies to or having a kid buy that person who wasn't good for you. Well, if you had a kid with someone or having a kid buy that, if you had a kid with a person who wasn't good for you, correct me if I'm wrong, it's still a blessing to have a healthy child or have a child at all, right? Because some people can't have them. And I've known people in my own life that they didn't have very good relationships, and individuals in those relationships weren't very good people, but they had beautiful kids. And I would never think to myself, oh, they shouldn't have had them. So, the age-old blessing in disguise. For some people, it's easier to make excuses on why they continue to stay stuck in their bad relationship than it is to just leave it. Trauma bonds attachment and strong emotion and feeling. Nike One, you should write a book. You're good, man. Have a few horror stories about this issue with some people I know. You find out a person's true character after a honeymoon phase when you start living with them, marriage, and having a baby by them. Sounds about right. I've never done the baby part. I've been through the honeymoon phase. I've been through living together for long periods. I haven't crossed the marriage bridge or the baby bridge. But living together to me is very similar to marriage and being in long-term relationships of 4, 5, 6 years and being committed, minus the ring, minus the walking down the altar, building a new mountain. But when you find out who a person truly is, let me add to that, Carmelo Mello. And thanks for chiming in and thanks for sharing your take today. If you're with someone long enough, they do have the propensity, especially if you're in your 20s or 30s, to change who they are. And you think, oh, they fooled me. No, they're just not sure who they are yet. They got a new job. They got a new groups of friends. one of their best friends from college moved into town and now they're hanging out together. This can change individuals' values and identity. And then you're like, what happened to this person? Well, circumstances, outside things. And so it's not just that you find out who they are, but they could change in that time. And that's when the breakups happen a lot, because people go, well, they're not who I thought they were. So they could have been wearing a mask when they first were with you and been on their best behavior, or they could have just went through, after 2 or 3 years and some kind of life experience or around different people, change who they were from when they met you. And that's more prevalent than ever before. Grandma and grandpa didn't go through that so much because grandma and grandpa had church and they didn't have a lot of outside distractions and they didn't have as big as cities. Now you got social media. Now you got everyone wanting to upgrade. That's why you have 10 different iPhones, right? They all of them do a lot of the same things, right? There's very minor in the upgrades you get in one iPhone to the next, but what do you want to do? You want to upgrade. And so this is how you are in a lot of relationships now, because that's the mentality of culture. It's hard to get away from. That's why you want to buy 30 different pairs of shoes. He is a little goofy, right? With his shoes and everything. I give him credit though. He runs a nice show though. He asks good questions. He's got those wicked ears and everything. He's cool though. I give him credit. He runs a good show. What's a really good one? Nike one that you'd like. I don't know the guy's name. He's African American. He's from Chicago, I think. Fuck, what's his name? He designs Nikes though. Went to Stanford. He was a cool interview. Fuck, I'll have to find that one for you. Maybe you saw it already, Nike one. But he designed Jordan shoes and stuff. I agree 100%. Seen the same situation time and time again. I don't mean to hold that scorecard. Even if you don't mean to, the way you're conveying the information more times than one, and I'm not trying to call you out on that. I'm just making you aware of it. And I've done it in my life too. And we're both Aquarius, right? So we're givers, we're outgoing. And I've done it before where I've done something for people, I've done something, and then you hold a scorecard and you get disappointed because what happens is, Black Widow 81, what happens is when you hold a scorecard, you're holding people to your values and your morals, and then you get really upset because they don't think like you do. Because people that are givers, when people don't give back to them, are like, why are you so selfish? Some individuals aren't giving people naturally. And so that's what I'm saying that will disappoint you. And people that aren't giving seek out givers, right? It fits well. Laugh out, no, don't want to be a relationship coach. I just like contributing knowledge I've acquired and continue learning along the way. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Coach, thanks for that and the platform you put out there for people just to be your 2019 hard to find good conversation. Well, thank you. And this is a good conversation, right? Because we take it to different levels. What's up, Jesse Chapman? Mr. Jesse. Jesse Chapman. I like Jesse. Hope you're doing well, bud. Nike One, I once knew a girl that I kept telling her to get rid of this guy, emotionally physical abuser. She kept going back. It eventually ended. You like to give advice, huh, Rob? Are you a teacher of some sort? Do your friends ever tell you, like, oh, you always like to lecture people? It eventually ended up in court, and she went back again. Because you're always saying, like, I told them. And I've been in that case. I've been in those situations before, too, and that's probably why I took this role on. I like to give advice. Some people just don't get it. They live their lives as a train wreck and make excuses. Well, you're right. Accountability is huge. Taking accountability and responsibility are at the core of self-improvement. I mean, that would be at the heart of everything. And I don't think people realize how simple that idea is when you could go, you know what was my role in this mess? Constant shift in identity and personality trait. I can see how that would mess with you and identity of who you are. G Money was on yesterday. He's on about 80% of the time. So sometimes, I mean, there's been times where I'm like, damn, you're always on. But I'm glad that he's got other things to do because he's a cool dude though. G Money is money, yes, but never stay in a relationship for the sake of the kids. It gives them the wrong example of love. I'll take your word for it. There's definitely a lot of people doing that, Judy Jack. I'm just saying some folks aren't too selective with who they have their kids with. I had a guy who was with a girl who said they couldn't get pregnant, and when they had sex and got pregnant. Oh. I understand what you mean. Coach, working on that book, actually, it's my life story and the journey I've taken to become the person I am. Well, you're a good writer, dude. When you wrote your story to me, you definitely wrote a junior novel. You're capable, bud. So that's for sure. And you got some trials and tribulations to add. Worst case scenario, you share your book, it enlightens you about your life. You know, when I'm starting to do these book reviews, I'm going back over the notes. I'm like, oh shit, I didn't catch that. I just realized I don't really like reading, like sitting and reading, but I realized if I read out loud recently that I like that better. It's not just because I like my voice, I don't think. I agree. Some people I've known 100% disagree with that logic for some reason. Wow, I'm way behind here. That's when she got too comfortable and showed. Okay. J. Cole said she don't want to be saved. Don't save her. The start off on their best behavior always, and the person gets comfortable, then some issues start popping up. What's the regular issues? And what are some of the issues you have, maybe? I really like this guy, but he was listening to other women who were trying to sabotage my relationship with him, and now he wants to come back to me. She knows and wanted what I had got pregnant. Well, if she's pregnant with his kid, that's going to cause major problems with you two moving forward. I would think not one time, not two times. I'd think about 4 times before I entered that relationship again. Virgil, a blow. I don't know what that means, Skinner. On purpose to make me jealous. Well, where's your power in the situation, Carmelo Mello? If someone's trying to make you jealous, what's the immediate thing you can do? Ignore them. Don't give them a platform to communicate with you. No, I haven't seen the shoot that over. If you can find that interview, Coach. Okay. I don't remember the guy's name. Like I said, he designed Jordans. I thought he was cool, man. And the funny thing is, the guy from Impact Theory kept going, man, you'd be a great rapper. And I was just like, why do you keep? This guy designs shoes. He's an artist, and he's a young black guy. And you keep saying that he'd be a great rapper because of the way he's talking. And the guy wasn't a rapper. Man, I could just see you being the best rapper. And the guy was like poetic with the way he was talking and stuff, but he just kept coming back to that. I was just kind of like, why do you keep saying that? No, I haven't seen that shoot. Mikey True. Never have. Some of the smartest girls I've known have gone in that direction trying to save guys. Well, guys that try to save women have a name for them. Captain Kirk. Impact Theory with Jay Shetty. Check it out, Coach. That's a good interview. He's got good ones. He's got good ones. He conducts a good interview. I mean, I'm making a few little jokes, but he does a good job, man. I think that's his house. He's worth like $400 million. I saw her at the hospital when I went to get my birth control put in, and she walked up to me, the smile on her face, going, "Oh, John." After that I left, she was jealous of me. So damn true. She wanted me to be so bad. What you need to do is get out. You know, if you're around individuals like that, you need to get out of their shade, right? Because it's not positive. Mac, I went on last minute. It was awesome. Mac, I went on a last minute. It was awesome. I'm thinking date. Good, man. You're good people. Jesse got great energy, dude. You're a funny guy, man. You got great energy. Jesse Chapman. I let people do them because no matter what, I'm going to do me and only care to change what I can control, and that is me. Well, good for you, Nike One. Mello, I got dreams. I got ambitions. That's his problem. Well, be thankful that, you didn't end up in that web yourself, and start focusing on those dreams and ambitions, and start getting a vision board or whatever you want to do. Start getting focused because you got aim. Nike, yeah, the father there usually becomes very bitter. Seen a bunch of times. Okay, Mello, I got it. Karma is when you do someone wrong. When you mess a good girl over bad, and you end up with a bad situation. I believe in karma. I believe in karma. It's happened to me in my life, sure. I believe in it. I remember there was a guy. He's got a business channel. I like his channel too. His name's Glendon Cameron, and he would be like, "I don't believe in karma. There's too many people out there that karma's bullshit." And I remember thinking like, "What?" And he was talking about in regards to business, people not following the rules or doing things wrong, and people that are bosses that fire people. And I've been around highly successful people that have businesses, and sometimes the way they treat people or the way they talk about people, I'm like, damn. And so you think like, because this individual makes a lot of money, they're getting away with not being affected by karma. Karma has no time limit, I don't think. I don't think there's like some like, well, if you do this bad and then something bad will immediately happen. I saw this guy that was, I think he's some kind of a psychic, but have you ever heard of he doesn't call himself a psychic though, it's like ESP or something, The Men Who Killed Goats? Fuck, what's that? There's a movie about a military project where they had psychics working for them. And this guy, this movie was based on this guy. He was on YouTube, and someone was asking him, and he's predicting all these things, and he does ESP everywhere. ESP is like where you can locate a package in Russia or something on its area. Anyways, in regards to karma, sorry to get off the topic, he said, and I like the way he put it. He goes, it's not because a lot of people in this realm, they say that there's actually no realm of time. We just keep time as individuals, but yeah, it has no expiration date. What he was saying is like, you are building a case, like things are adding up and stacking as you do bad things. And yeah, they will turn around at some point. Like there is in some ways, this sounds funny, a scorecard by the karmic world or something like that eventually it will come back around. But when it does and how it does, who knows, right? Because let's look at it this way, like rich and famous people, we all assume like, wow, what a great life. And I mean, I think popular culture and the way things are spun on the news, and that's the thing about like impact theory and that Nike one. It's like, why does everyone you interview have to be like, oh, this person's worth $100 million or this person made $200 million? I don't know if that's success, right? I don't know what that individual is at home. And I've met people in real life that are semi-famous to highly successful to rich, and they aren't necessarily ultra happy or, dare I say, good people. And so assuming that karma has to do with making money, that's a totally different thing. I would say that building layers of karma works in your favor and works against you. And when you're at your best, you're doing good things. You're doing things with virtue. You're doing things for other people, and you're happier with yourself, right? My issues, too many lists, but a few of them are lack of communication from the other person, lack of consistency. I'm huge on communication. It's extremely important to me, as well as consistency. Okay, what I notice, Black Widow, is that you're coming up with a lot with what other people lack, right? And so what are the areas that you want to improve on as an individual? And what are areas that you can improve? And where are you meeting these individuals? What's the demographics? Where's the areas that you're meeting these individuals? Could you change that possibly? So make them but few are a lack of communication from the other person and a lack of consistency from the other person. I'm huge on communication. It's extremely important to me, as well as consistency. Karma knows everyone's address. I've read that before on the live stream. We've all done things, but we can learn from it. I'll always believe God pays us with kindness, and it's good to help people regardless. Right on, Jesse. No such things as a bad lesson. No such thing as going into something with good intentions. No such thing as having regrets when going into things with good intentions. Sorry. So a lot of times people ask me something, I go, well, lead with good intentions and honesty. Well, that's not, I'm like, at the end, if I'm going to give you a short answer, that would be a motto for me, lead with good intentions. So are you doing this out of revenge or anger or whatever? Are you doing this, like people always ask, I want to send her a happy birthday, but we haven't talked in 2 months. Well, what's your intentions? Do you really want to send a happy birthday, or are you hoping to get back together? Because that's not good intentions. that's trickery, and that's being slick, and that's being hopeful and wishful in some ways. Life and relationships are one big head game. And once you learn how to play the head game, it no longer becomes a game at all. Now you start living your life. I'm going to talk about this further in future posts, and a video I'm going to drop on the next day about the secret to happiness, which I mentioned today as the topic to start this live stream, which we go in different directions from there. But I have like 24 things that I believe contribute to the secret of happiness. We've all done bad things. No such thing as a bad lesson. What you put out will be bound to come back to you. I'm in search for a feeling. It wasn't money, love, more followers on social media. It was a feeling of true victory in myself and only myself. David Goggins. The legend continues. He created an alter ego too. Alter ego. I've sent a happy birthday, no agenda. Good for you. That's my whole point. I remember someone hit me up like 7 months after a live coaching. They're like, hey, Mac, just want to ask your opinion. My ex's dog died, and it was a big part of their family. And this dude's like a really cool dude. And he's like, I've already met a new girl and everything like that, but I still care about her, and I really liked her dog. And should I say something about the dog? And I'm like, lead with good intentions and nothing else. And so he thought about it, and he's like, I really don't want to recommunicate with my ex to stir up anything. And he goes, so I just went to church, and he goes, I just said a prayer for the dog myself. And I was like, good for you, man. That's a good way to handle it. That's leading with good intentions for the dog that passed away. When I'm interested in someone, I'm consistent and I communicate. When there's a change in both, it becomes a problem for me as far as myself. I guess I'm experiencing too much. What you're doing is you're filtering for that from the beginning. So you're looking for inconsistencies. And the bottom line is every relationship will have some. So you need to maybe lighten up on that a little bit. My guess, I don't know your situation. Communication's a broad subject, so I don't know what you mean in that regard. I mean, how one communicates is different from one to the next. Read a book called The Alter Ego after you listen to David Goggins speak about creating an alter ego. Okay. I'm open to that. I'm kind of behind on my reading recently. Now that I've been doing these live streams. Yesterday, I got off a 2-hour, 26-minute live stream, and I thought, I was fatigued, man. I had to go get a massage. Any closing questions here? Any closing questions? We've gone 2 hours, 11 minutes. Some people stayed on the whole time. I'm getting a bit of a sore throat. This has been really nice. Thanks for joining, guys. I appreciate it. Carmelo Mello, Black Widow 81, January 29th, Aquarius, Rob IS, Judy Jack, as always, Bianca Evans, Cryptic, Samantha J was early on. This is good, guys. Rockhead. Thanks, Jesse. I really appreciate it, bud. Closing questions. Communication as calling and texting and reaching out. Again, that's what I would say is like, what's your expectations of that? I don't know. What keeps getting broken? Maybe send me an email. Maybe Black Widow, if you want to send of your last relationship or a story, maybe I can help you unpack that a little bit. Because if history keeps repeating itself, you need to get to the bottom of it. You're not unpacking something. I'll be honest, when I'm in a live coaching, 9 times out of 10, 1 or 2 parts of live coaching, someone will go, actually, and I'll always end, was this useful or helpful? And they'll go, you know what? I didn't look at that one thing that you mentioned that way. And it's a shift and it's a reframe of perspective. And it happens a lot. It happens a lot. Well, thanks, Black Widow. I appreciate it. And good luck to your daughter at Pitt Community College. And you haven't been to the channel. I have a very good memory, so I will remember you. I will remember things that have been said. Sometimes people are like, wow, yeah, you look tired and low on blood sugar yesterday. Me? Is that what you're talking about, Judy Jack? Possible. Yes, the phone for setting dates. CW's always reinforces that. Phone is for setting dates. Well, Judy Jack, I will take that into account from you. Only at the end. I hadn't eaten this in the morning. You would know. You would know because you're a nurse. So I take that into account. Comes to Kyle's one day. I will. I will. I will if the timing's right. I'm going to send him an email and we'll probably link up and do something. I'll definitely support him. It's not even support. I like him. I like the channel. I think it's good. What's his link? I don't know if there's a link. What do you call it? The name of his channel. I think that's what you're asking. I don't know who Rob's talking about. Yeah. I enjoy your live streams. Actually, I do actually listen to them a lot when I'm on lunchtime. Well, thanks. I take that as a compliment, Jesse. Appreciate that. And with the UK's finest. All right, folks. I got to get some food in and some sugar in. Take it easy, and I will be on deck tomorrow at the same time. So if you want to join tomorrow, that'd be great. Talk to you again. Would it be wrong if I put my love life on the back burner and focus only on getting my money up and building myself up? I think that's an extremely good plan for you at this point. And maybe tomorrow I'll recommend you read some books. Educate yourself on some different things. You know, what direction you want to go into. Recalibrate the ship. I think that's a good idea, Carmelo Mello. Get your mind right. Okay, I'm gonna go now. Oh, okay, sorry.